RPA welcomes you to our YouTube channel, which will be featuring a video series that will follow the lives of various RPA leaders, some new to engagement with RPA and others more seasoned. They will candidly share their stories about volunteering in a professional association, work-life balance, personal and professional fulfillment, even money management, and why it's so important to volunteer in the RPA community. Enjoy their journey. How did you find the balance between personal and professional?
Well, you have to love what you do. And so I love pediatric nephrology. I do it because of the patients, and they make it all worth it. And the other person I couldn't do it without is my husband. He's he's now a retired urologist, but he was an academic urologist and busy on his own. So he really understood, and he understood my passion, so he was very supportive.
What made you get up, get dressed, and you say one yes one more time?
So my fatal flaw is I always say yes. Oh. And it's because I do love what I do, and I've never burned out because I always find a new challenge, and I always like what I do. I think it helps for me to have been an academic pediatric nephrologist. The residents and the fellows and the young faculty make everything fresh. The diseases don't get old because they always ask a question that raises some new aspect of the disease to me. Plus, I take care of kids, and who cannot be better when a kid comes and hugs you and thanks you for doing what you do.
Now, you said that your husband was also in the medical field. Do you feel like that made it easy? That makes it easier?
For me, it did. I had several relationships, long-term relationships with non-medical people who never understood what I did, who felt that I was always answering my beeper and putting the patients first. And so it really helped me to have a husband who understood the demands of the profession, understood the priorities, and said, go for it. And I supported him in the same way. My husband was president of the American Urologic Association. And so I used to go and they would ask me, what shall we call you? And I said, I left Dr. Brewer at home. I'm Mrs. Corriere.
Great. What are other benefits of participating in RPA, short-term and long-term, did you receive?
I think the people, the nephrologists in RPA, are the nicest and most engaged people in any society that I deal with. They're always there with a kind word, but also a word of advice. And we work as a team. We enjoy having a drink together, but we also enjoy trying to solve the problems together. The RPA is just a different, it's just a different kind of feeling than the other professional societies that I'm in. And I say that as a pediatric nephrologist, being well accepted by my adult colleagues in the RPA, and I find them very supportive of pediatric nephrology and have really helped my particular patient population more than any other society except the American Society of Pediatric Nephrology.
What nuggets, if you can leave some nuggets to an early career physician, what would they be to encourage them to get more involved in RPA?
They need to come to a meeting. And I think they will find that they are sought out and welcomed and engaged, and then they'll come back. I also think they really probably have never been exposed to the side of medical practice and nephrology practice that the RPA brings forward. The sessions we had this morning with panel discussions that included practice advice as well as patients actually talking about what they need and what they want from us, and what disparities the patients have to overcome to be taken care of. Those things are really not addressed very well in other settings, and they were very well addressed today and would have touched the minds and the hearts of any young nephrologist.
Why do you believe it's important for early career physicians to have a mentor?
Well, I never had one. And so I guess I qualify for the silent generation, although I always thought I was a baby boomer, but I didn't quite make it. And so when I started out in pediatric nephrology, there were only about 200 practicing pediatric nephrologists. And I went to a program where I was the first pediatric nephrologist and established the program. I had no mentor. And I had no mentor in my institution. I had to figure it out all on my own. And so I really knew I needed that. I'll have to say there was a pediatric nephrologist who in the pediatric nephrology world, we all know Russell Chesney, who is now passed away. Russ was a mentor to everybody, no matter what institution you were at. So Russ would always come to my poster. Russ would always come to my oral presentation and ask a question. Russ would always invite me to be a co-chair. He was the closest to a mentor I had, and so I really learned from him how important it is for the mid-level or senior people to include the junior people and to let them know how important they are and how you're there for them. And I try to tell the faculty that I work with, my door is always open. Feel free to call me at night. I will answer my phone. Answering a question and making things simpler for you for 5 minutes is no problem for me.
And Dr. Brewer, if a young physician wanted to become involved in RPA, where would you say they should start?
Start at the committee, and probably the thing to do is just to pick a committee that you think would be interesting to you and go and observe. And once you go and observe, you'll be welcomed by that committee and you'll be offered opportunities. Also, come and introduce yourself. I was in the exhibits today and a young nephrologist came up to the table where I was eating my oatmeal. And so I asked who he was, where he was practicing, where he was from originally, and engaged him in conversation. And I hope from that he understood that he was welcomed by everybody here.
I just want to ask you, Dr. Brewer, how did this art of doodling turn into a piece of art for you?
I think just luck. So I actually have a mind that moves very rapidly. And when I'm very visual as opposed to auditory in my focus. So when I'm listening to a conversation, my mind wanders. And if I doodle at the same time that I'm listening, I really hear everything and become more focused about what's going on. So that's how it started. And actually, I've been doodling since I was in school. And I would listen to the teacher. The only way I could pay attention was by doodling. I went to a summer course at Rice University when I was in high school for math, and I did some of really elaborate kind of doodles there that really helped me focus on the math that I was learning. And so I learned that if my mind starts wandering at a committee meeting or a board meeting, it's better to start drawing, and then I'll listen to everything that happens.
So you've been doing this since you were like a kid?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, you must have tons and tons.
Well, I threw them all away for early on, and then and then people said, these are good, and I was sort of amazed. And so then I started giving them away, and then I said, well, maybe I'll just hold on to these. And I remember when I was a kid, when I was 11 or 12, my father gave me a drawing set for one Christmas because he said, you should do this. And he already knew I was drawing, so that was it. And I can remember sitting down when I was an adult with my parents and showing them some of the things I had done, and they were like amazed. They had no idea that I could do that. You know, RPA has done so much for me and for pediatric nephrology by being there and supporting us and listening to us, and I don't want that to stop. And that can only continue if you, as young nephrologists, come and experience the same thing I did, become engaged, become leaders. It will enrich your lives. It will make you a better doctor. You'll take better care of your patients, and you'll have a more successful practice. So come on out. We need you to continue the traditions of the RPA.